we were getting on these chat rooms. Grown men were in these chat rooms. Mom, can I get a web camera? Yeah, sure, honey. Gets me a webcam. What does a 12-year-old girl need to do with a webcam? Welcome, Woven Ones. This is Generations Woven, where the voices of 3 generations blend into one tapestry of truth, laughter, love, and life. So, born between 1981 to 1996, millennials grew up in transition. High school was dial-up internet, AIM, and the beginning of everything changing. For me, it was ICQ. First cars were often shared, borrowed, or bought with 3 jobs. The music, pop, hip hop, the CDs you burned yourself on LimeWire. 9/11 happened during millennial adolescence. So did the financial crisis. They've been called entitled, avocado toast eating, job hopping dreamers, but they built movements, raised different kids, and refused to live for a pension. And I'm here to set the record straight. So, when you guys think of a millennial, what do you think?
Not avocado eating. I love avocados.
Me too.
And I think
Okay.
we've
We
been
don't get to
eating-
claim that?
No,
We can't
not
just
that
be.
way.
Did you guys even have avocado toast before us?
Probably not.
I don't. Why would they claim that for that generation?
But they came up with it, probably.
Maybe
Did you?
eating differently?
I love
Our
avocado
parents made
toast.
a lot of like frozen dinners and
Okay.
fast food, and maybe that's where
Oh,
it came from. My mom was not a cook, right? So it was a lot of fast food, and maybe the millennials of,
How'd you get to be such a good cook?
yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe
Curiosity.
curiosity, maybe just
Mhm.
enjoying the
Mhm.
peace that comes with like cooking
True,
dinner,
there is a piece.
or being so methodical in ways, like following a recipe and doing exactly what the recipe does. That was the first part of my cooking adventure, was like whatever the recipe says. And I just followed it
Mm.
exactly, and like it
And
was
then
like
you get more
instructions,
confidence and you start customizing it to
creating,
your.
yeah, differently.
You know what was one of the interesting things that I did not know about millennials, even though I have a daughter that is a millennial, that they're very good at doing what you tell them to do. And I'm like, they are? But apparently that is a fact. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I think,
Yeah,
I mean, because again, we were told to do things by our
true.
parents
Yes.
versus communicated with in an optional way. It was more like, do this, do that. So we just followed orders. Teachers too, right? When we were in
Oof.
school, you had to follow
Mhm.
instructions still. Like it wasn't you got in trouble, right? You were grounded, you were sent to your room, things were taken away. Like it was strict to where we kind of learned to conform and do what we were
Did they
being
still
told.
have paddling in the schools when you were in school?
No.
Because I remember we had one teacher, and if you were
No.
not, ship shape, acting right, he'd walk down the aisles between the desks and swat you with it was a
Like on your
ruler.
leg?
Yeah,
A
ruler with
ruler?
a metal edge on it. Yeah.
I remember the rulers with the metal edge, but yeah, no, we didn't get, I mean, my dad spanked me. I mean, so
That,
I
that's a good
was,
topic.
I was
You got
definitely,
spanked.
yes. And I
Yeah.
did like, I did start by spanking my daughter, then I stopped because I've learned it, right? Like I was
Mhm.
spanked. I thought it was like the way that you told a kid how to do things
Mhm.
when I was younger, right? I was young with her, so she was like at 4 years old, I remember like giving her a swat. Like I feel horrible now. Like I don't like that I did that at all. But I thought that that's what we had to do to teach them
It was
because
a
that's what we were
way.
taught, right? So I one time, like, I don't know why I did this or if it's even a real memory, but it's a memory I have. We were all sitting like eating popcorn, and for some reason, maybe I wasn't getting attention, Lord forbid. And I remember like my intrusive thoughts, those intrusive thoughts that you have. For some reason, I picked up the popcorn and I like put the bowl on my head. And the popcorn went everywhere. Why? I had some weird intrusive thought. Well, I got
How
spanked
old
for
were
it.
you?
Like 5,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
something.
Long
I was
time ago.
little. But
Mm.
that's the first time I remember actually being spanked. And I remember running away from my dad down the hallway, and he caught me, took me back to the living room, and laid me over his lap and spanked me.
Spanked you.
And so, like, I never did it in that way, right? It was always like a
SWAT.
grab the arm, like
Yeah.
swat the butt type of thing. And again, I feel horrible that I did
Why?
that looking back. Because I don't think now that hitting is going to teach them to make better decisions or to help them understand why. Right? Like hindsight, it would have been a little bit more of the gentle parenting, like sitting down eye level and having like being like, after they calm down, be like, why did you do that? And they'd be like, I don't know. And I'd be like, okay, well, that's not very nice. Let's not do that again and move on. Because hitting, what did I tell her? I told her nothing. I just hit her and then said, don't do that. And
But
she
could
was
you
confused.
do both? Okay, but what if a little kid goes and they put their hand on the stove?
Well, they're going to
Or-
burn. They're going to learn.
So it's the
Oh my
same
God.
thing.
Like
When
you know, I'm not going to go spank them because they're put their hand on the stove.
No, that's not what I mean.
Oh,
The idea of there's consequences.
Yeah.
You do this, there are consequences.
I think there's other consequences though than hitting.
I'm also, I mean, we grew up. We
Mhm.
definitely got spanked. And I don't know if your generation what they used as a method or an object to spank, but from what I've heard, there were things where today I'm like, oh, I don't
Oh,
like
a switch.
that.
Do you ever hear the switch? Go grab a switch.
Oh yeah.
It was
Or a belt,
do you know what that is?
No,
No.
willow
Okay,
tree.
a switch was a tree. You went and grabbed a twig,
a twig, and
Yeah,
you get
and then they
really
would.
spank you.
Yeah,
with
so
that?
that wasn't in my family, but in
No.
another person who I've been close with, they would say, "Yeah, my dad would tell me go pick a switch," and so they'd have to go out and pick their own
Wow.
piece of twig off the tree
Get
and
spanked
bring it
with?
back to get spanked.
Wow.
It's crazy to think about
Then
now.
I'm
It
sure they picked the
is.
smallest
Yeah.
one.
Oh, I'm
Nice.
sure.
Light feather.
Well, no, isn't that the worst? Because then it's more of like that sting,
Oh,
I
right?
think it would be a sting anyway.
I don't know. No
I
matter
don't
what.
know. That's an interesting concept because I am all for cause and effect, and there are consequences in life. I think if they just spanked and then that was it, then what? Then you get very scared of the authoritative
Yes.
person, which I don't like that, but I understand that there is a respect aspect behind it, which I think is not bad. But I think if you spank, whatever way you do it, it's hard to even think about it today. You're better when you're done. And it doesn't have to be right after, but then you have to have a really good conversation.
And I don't think that happened.
no.
I don't think that
Um,
happened with any of the
not-
generations
not
when it
my
came to
generation.
spanking.
No, we got the talk afterwards, and that was worse. I think my dad didn't really like to spank me because, man,
Well, your mom and dad were teachers too.
They
Yes.
were.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
it's
I would
very
yell.
different.
I would yell, and the neighborhood would know that my dad spanked his middle daughter. Yeah, so I don't think he liked
See,
that too
and
much.
that is very different of now this younger generation. And I don't know. I mean, maybe people still are spanking. I'm sure they
my
are out
parents
there.
were
know.
2 generations older
Yeah.
because they were
Mhm.
mid-40s when I was born. So yeah,
Were they a silent generation?
my mother's born 1907.
Oh, yeah.
So 100.
19 now.
Yeah.
I don't know what that generation is called. I don't think it's the silent generation. Probably
It
the
is.
It is still
Yeah.
part of that?
Her parents would be
07?
silent, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So
They spanked. Oh, they
yeah.
spanked big time.
Yeah.
But that's an
wasn't
interesting
often,
concept.
but when you had it, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Mhm.
when
You
had it
knew.
coming.
You didn't forget.
Yeah.
So any other stereotypes that you guys can think of about millennials when you think of a millennial?
I
Hmm.
think they're pretty awesome.
I do too.
Yeah, you're one, so I know that
Yeah.
that's
I think we're pretty
not
great.
biased at all.
With us growing up, I remember we had like our first, normal computer. Like, yes, we had the old Apple computers that
Yeah.
were like the 5.5-inch floppy
Yes.
disk, like the big one
I
that would
remember
go
the
in.
floppy disks. Yeah.
And then we had the smaller 3-inch floppy disks,
Yes.
right? And we kept track of them all. And then we got into the CD era. So we were really part of that growing up with the technology and
Mhm.
proving, I mean, year over year, constantly changing. But we started, like, we had computers, but they were more like family computers,
Oh, okay.
right? Today, everyone has their own computer.
Mhm.
But at the time, it was a family computer. So it was like in one room of the house, and that's where you went, and everybody shared it. Well, then, because my dad was into technology and he really liked it, But by junior high, I had my own in my bedroom.
Mm.
And then things started to change because as you're a teenager with a computer in your bedroom, with chat apps, right, where you can chat with
rooms,
people,
yeah.
you could go into chat rooms with people that you do not know
Exactly.
from all over the country, the world, all over the world, because we had something we called ASL. So it was age, sex, location.
Wow.
So you would say, like, I was 12 or 13, and I would say 18, female,
Oh, Lord.
Illinois. Okay, so
Okay, hold on. We just do it backwards today. Today, when we're online dating, you say, I am 28. It's like, you don't look like you're 28.
okay, really quick. Over 7,000 people watch Generations Woven every month, but only a tiny percentage of you are actually subscribed. It's free and it takes 2 seconds, and it genuinely helps us grow, bring on amazing guests, and reach more women looking for connection, healing, and real conversations. Thank you. But that's the thing. We did not look 18.
No, I know.
But we wanted to make sure who we talked to was more mature.
Ugh.
And our parents had no idea we were doing this stuff.
And they could have been a 40-year-old.
It was.
Yeah,
and you want to know why I
pedophile.
know it was? Because we got webcams. Webcams came out. So now we're on chats. Now you have the option to click turn on webcam. And Mom, can I get a web camera? Yeah, sure, honey. Gets me a webcam. What does a 12-year-old girl need to do with a webcam?
Yeah.
Nothing. And that's now kids have phones. They've got a camera everywhere, right?
Anyway.
Everything is being tracked. But at that age, it was new. We were getting on these chat rooms, and grown men were in these chat rooms, right? You would join.
How scary is
you
that?
would connect. Yes. And like the stuff that we saw and the stuff that we did is very inappropriate. But we were young and it was new technology and we didn't know what we were getting into, which I think is very relative to all technology over time.
Mm-hmm.
We could sit there and think our kids are making great decisions and they're not doing things that they shouldn't be doing, but you don't know unless you're monitoring, talking, having those conversations with them.
I mean, it can be very dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought of a word for the millennials.
What?
You're resilient.
Yeah, I like that.
You are, because you came through all this technology and growth and everything else, and you hung in there and you grew. But I think that makes you resilient.
With parents that were
I
not
agree.
very good with, honey, how are you feeling? Are you
No,
good?
yes.
Because we just needed to get stuff done. And that's why we didn't always explain nicely to you or given you the attention and give that gentle parenting that you were talking about. Because there were not enough time
I wish I'd have
for
been more
us.
of a conversationalist with my kids, but
Like now you look at it and you are
Yes.
today.
well, you know, I
but
didn't have the time,
But it is.
and
That is the thing.
you didn't have the tools. You didn't know.
and I didn't have the tools.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's
Right.
okay. Like we didn't have tools that we could have done things differently. But I like the resilient because so many of us, and you guys probably do too, because 9/11 was such a thing.
Remember.
We watched it in school. So 8th grade, there's commotion in the hallway of people talking about something. We're changing classes. We show up to the class and the teacher tells us what happened, turns the TV on, and we're watching it live, right? Watching the second tower get hit live with your classmates. And you don't know, like, you're just, what is going on,
what's
right? You're
interesting?
living through
I
that.
remember same kind of reaction when Kennedy was shot.
Oh.
63.
Yeah, 64, 63.
Because did they turn it on
Oh,
everywhere?
yeah, it was on. And I remember I was sitting in school and they put it on. It's like, oh my God.
But today's generation, they have it every day because something around the world
That's very
Exactly.
is happening, and we have it on all the social media. You know, how else would we know that all these things are happening in these different states with the with soccer right now, right? People putting cones on all the statues in Boston, but also thriving with it, right? They're having a
Yeah.
good time. That's kind of a fun one. But then you've got the school shootings and other things that are happening where you're like a front row seat and we're
Exactly.
just getting used to it. We're used to seeing all of this
Do you
happening.
become calloused?
A little bit, I think.
Or do you forget that those are real people in that situation because you're just used to seeing so much and you're like, that could be you in that right now in pain, but we're just continuing our lives
Mhm.
because it's so normal and because we see it normal because we see it every single day on our phones. You scroll and you're going to see something that
Yeah, right.
somebody being mean, somebody being hurt versus we
Mhm.
had just those moments where like a
That's a
shock
good
to our
point.
system.
That's a good point. But you know what? Here's another thought. The video games that are available now and in your time that represents true life, the violence,
I was just
Different.
and
we didn't have that.
and the
Well, we didn't really either.
It came later.
what do you call it?
The simulations.
Rewards for if you do this, or this, like shoot someone, or you know what I mean.
Like like the challenges, right?
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto, go steal a car and you're getting
Right.
points. But no, in my younger age, right, it was Nintendo. Like
Nintendo.
we had Mario and
Oh, I
Pitfall
love
and
Hey,
Mario.
my kids made fun of me
ColecoVision.
because I couldn't keep up. That's the last time I ever tried one of
Oh,
those
I
games.
But
love
and
that.
it was Mortal Kombat, but it
Yeah.
was just like, like it's just like two people kind of hitting, but it wasn't even like it would be like a splatter of blood, but it was like nothing,
Yes.
right? Compared to
Not
now,
realistic.
it is realistic.
Very.
And
How
it's-
many of them are at a point where they can't determine reality
Yes.
from fantasy?
because they live in it
Yeah.
every day. And that's the thing. These generations, we all have things that are different, but it's not any generation's fault, right?
No.
This is just the way that we grow and change and seeing that each generation has a value or is dealing with something that we can't
Correct.
imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that I didn't get to grow up in a time when we still did not depend on technology. We still were outside playing with our friends, sledding down the hills. Like that was a constant every single day I spent outside. Yeah, I had my game system, but it wasn't my life revolving around it. So each generation has a different challenge that is formulating how they are. And I think as we understand that better and other people understand how each generation is,
Right.
it just
struggling with
you-
their own things.
yes, because we all grew up in different ages.
You know, I want to know, what does it do to your body? What does it do to your mind and what does it do to your nervous system? Because at least we had some downtime of the stuff that is available 24/7 right now. I think about Wi-Fi. You know, it doesn't matter where you're in your house. You have all these different like headphones and I'm thinking, you know what, wouldn't it be good to have one room that does not have access to anything, that has no
Unplugged.
blue light?
That's what I love
at
about
night?
cruising. Get on a cruise ship. I will not pay for internet on a cruise ship
Wow, okay.
because then it's like
could
it's
stay at home.
forcing me
Yeah.
to disconnect.
Tasha, that's interesting. That's why I like to go camping. And
Mhm.
I have books that I read. I have journals and I
Mhm.
write stuff, but I
You
don't
feel
want to be on my
you feel good
phone.
afterwards.
And I hear the birds and the peace. That's
Mhm.
one thing about, different generations. Maybe you guys really had it. We don't have it now with this generation. One thing that's non-negotiable for me in my life where I am right now is peace. If you're going to come and steal my peace with whatever drama you're creating, mm-mm, mm-mm. You go sit over there.
Yeah, and we're working on that, I think. I think the millennials are kind of working towards that. We're learning, we've been in the hustle culture
Yeah.
for a while, right? So
Yeah.
I'm 38, so getting closer to 40, and I think this 35 to 45 age range is probably getting closer to the I just want some peace in my life, and they're learning how to get that
Hardest
versus
part, and even at my age, the hardest part is being able to identify who has a problem, because we're so ready to react to
fix.
everything, to fix
it's hard.
everything.
We do
I
want to fix. We're
know.
fixers.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of that.
But we are. Many of us are just We're
And
fixers.
what is it there you want to fix? And why do you want to fix it? There's the key.
And how do you
Because we maybe
empower?
had to fix it when we were younger. Maybe if our parents had a problem or whatever, we wanted to make sure that we fixed it so then they didn't explode on us or whatever, right? We learned it from something.
Sure, we did.
Yeah.
But especially when you do that for the next generation, you're taking away from them being empowered.
Yes.
And it's always good to go, no, I don't know. You figure it out.
Yes. Or what would you do?
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a skill.
it definitely
But I
is a
think,
skill.
yeah, I mean, millennials, I think all of our generations have great things. We
Mhm.
have stereotypes. There's always going to be something where
Sure.
they blame somebody for something. I mean, for a lot of millennials talk about the difficulty right now with the economy and being able to buy a house because of interest rates and the cost of homes going up. But I mean, those things are always going to keep happening, right? It's
Mhm.
getting out of the different mindsets that we put on ourselves, the limiting mindsets, and doing what we
Mhm.
can with what we have. And then it's also the older generations, the boomers and others, seeing that we're different, right? And some of us do want different things. We are different people, and we just have to be okay that everyone's growing up
Mhm.
in a different world than the
Yeah.
generation before us.
And give them grace for what they're going
Yes.
through that we didn't. We didn't have
Hmm.
to.
We're not lazy. Millennials aren't lazy. When it comes to like working and different things, we're just realizing that maybe it's ready for a change. So this week, I want you to share one memory from your teenage years that only a millennial would understand. Talk to somebody about it. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell a friend, talk to people. Share a story from your teenage years because your remember when could be somebody else's entire history. So until next time, God bless.
There's an invisible thread